I can have your attention here in the Infield Media Center, we now welcome Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. Jimmie is currently second in points and has one win coming into Pocono. Before we open it up for opening statements and questions, I think Jimmie has a presentation and something he wants to make a few statements about.
Yeah, once again, we have our Helmet of Hope program that's coming along. We've moved it up on the schedule to raise awareness for what has taken place with the tornadoes, especially the one in Joplin. As we mentioned last week, with the American Red Cross, added a 13th to the helmet last week, and my wife and I donated $10,000 to the American Red Cross to get that started, and now we're pulling the rest of the names. So we'll pull one fan name and then one media name to go onto the helmet. New process this year. And number 4. Yes, fans. And the fan nominee is 24 Hours of Booty, nominated by Terry Hennessy. And cancer has touched her life in many ways. 24 Hours of Booty provides a fun, safe, and enjoyable environment to help fight cancer. I believe that's right there in Charlotte, close to my house, the Booty Loop. So that's cool. The media one is number 1. Godwin Kelly, Flagler County Education Foundation. The foundation is dedicated to providing financial support and awareness for Flagler County Public Schools. And obviously, Godwin's with the Daytona Beach News Journal. So thank you to everybody involved, and please send in your nominees to JimmieJohnsonFoundation.org, and we'll put you in the draw.
Thank you, Jimmie. If you will, just talk a little bit about coming in second in points, one win so far this season, and your strategy for Pocono.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting closer. Our cars are faster each and every week. We still need to put all the pieces together. From Friday on, qualifying is so important. We've had a couple different issues pop up, and trying to get that stuff under control so that we can qualify, hopefully in the top 5 on a regular basis. It just leads to a great pit stall pick and really helps the weekend. We're still trying to get everything right on pit road, and I've got a group of young guys that are extremely dedicated and focused and athletic. And there's just some green guys that don't have a ton of experience, and we're getting them reps. They're crewing the 38 nationwide car, trying to get reps from time to time, and getting a little better each week. So I think once we get everything in order, and we're very close on all fronts, that we'll be there competing on a regular basis for wins like we want. We did win one. We're second in points. So yeah, the year could be better, but we do have a win. We are second in points, and we've knocked on the door a few times early in the year to win and just didn't capitalize. But we're looking forward to doing some celebrating here before long.
Okay, we'll open up for questions here in the Media Center. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you and state your name and affiliation. Questions for Jimmie? Kenny Bruce, we'll come back up here to Lee.
Hey, Jimmie. Kenny Bruce with SingW.com. Foundation question for you. Do you have any idea how often your foundation is approached for help? And do you find yourself wishing that you could help more people than your group is actually able to touch?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we are approached daily by many to help with. Our focus here lately has been on educational grants, and we've focused in on 3 areas where I grew up, where my wife grew up, and then in North Carolina where we live. And it's very difficult. We do a good job of raising around $1 million each year, but between those 3 areas, we can't take care of every grant request that comes in, and we feel bad, but we know we're making a difference, and we wish that we could help more. And that's just on that side of things. There's still many other great causes out there. We're always fulfilling requests, and we try to help out as often as we can with a lot of fundraisers that take place and donate items and just help wherever we can. And I'm not the only driver doing it. There are a lot of drivers and teams in the sport that do it, and very happy to do so.
Lee
Spencer, Fox Sports. Can you just talk a little bit about bringing the element of shifting back into Sunday's race, and what kind of consequences might come from that?
We started shifting last year, and even I think I tried some in the year before that, and didn't see a lot of speed because the gear ratios we were allowed to use, there was just such a big gap between each downshift that, one, it's very risky. Two, we couldn't run the coolers on the cars to keep the everything cool and cold, because as you start downshifting, the transmission coolers. And so if you're running in third gear a lot, you're going to build a lot of extra heat, and you need to have coolers and stuff on the car in order to keep the transmission under it. So it was kind of a risky thing. You only wanted to do it from time to time. Not to mention that the power curve of the engine, if you're not shifting, you might want to move the power curve down in a lower RPM range where you'll run, and then if you shift, you kind of want to do the opposite because you can stay in that peak RPM longer. So it really hasn't been a strong effort to make it to have a car shift, and guys were dabbling with it, and now it just makes it easy where you can come in, you can put the coolers on the car, you can get the gaps closer, so when you downshift, you're not risking missing a shift and spinning the car out and crashing it. It won't be as easy to tear up the transmissions, and you can build an engine package to suit what you plan on doing. So I think it's been a good move. It brings a lot of interest to the track and a lot of discussion from a fan standpoint and a media standpoint. Gives us drivers options, gives the teams options, the engine shops options. So I think there's a lot of excitement coming into this race from the garage area.
Okay, we'll take our question from over here, then take one from Mike and back up front.
Jimmy, Colin Rickabon, WBRE TV here in Wilkes-Barre. You look at the qualifying, the shifting, and it just seems that it's a wide open field every Saturday night or Sunday. Is this race on Sunday wide open with everything coming into this race?
It is, and what comes to mind first for me is usually at the end of this race we have some type of fuel situation that develops, or a 2 versus 4 tire strategy. We don't get a lot of cautions here, and every time I think of Pocono, I think we have a great race for 2/3 of the race, and then strategy comes into play, and we find ourselves in 20th on a restart trying to fight our way back to the front. So that part makes this race exciting at the end, and I guess exciting for the fans, but frustrating for us competitors, because a lot of times the fastest car will start that last pit stop on, or the second to last pit stop on, mid-pack, because you have a lot of guys gambling and trying to get some track position and out-strategize the fast cars. So that part makes it frustrating and exciting all at the same time.
Okay, Mike.
Mike Hembry, Speed.com. Jimmy, a fan mentioned on a site recently that the 48 guys are just hiding in the bushes and they're going to pounce in September, win 5 out of the last 10 races, that sort of thing. Do you feel like with the new guys you have this year and some of the changes and so forth, you can still come back late in the year like you've done in some previous years and be a real force over the last 10 or 12?
Yeah, I really do. And I mean, I don't feel like we're in a big hole. I mean, we're second in points. We've been in much worse positions at this point of the year in years past, and have been able to get stuff in order and come back. We're learning, we're developing new stuff. We're also developing a new group of guys over the wall, as we had mentioned, and we're trying as hard as we can each and every week, just like we have each and every year. And it may appear that we're laying in the weeds waiting for September, but man, we're at 100% doing all we can on all fronts. I think it speaks to how competitive this garage area is, and just because you have a good year the previous year and win a championship doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're going to come out and be successful. This garage area is very, very competitive, and we're working hard to get back to the top of the mountain, and I hope so. And kind of part of their observation was right. There is time, and that's what we feel. That's what we build a lot of confidence in, is that we do have time to get our stuff right before the chase starts. So we're optimistic.
Okay, final question for Jimmy.
Josh Reed with ABC 27 out of Harrisburg. Just talking to Jeff Gordon, and he said that some tracks he feels really good about, some he's kind of iffy on. This one, he says, can change. It can change in the middle of the race where he feels really good, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, what just happened? Do you echo that? Is this that type of racetrack?
Yeah, we've seen that. I think this race in the spring last year, we dominated the first half for 2/3, and then the switch was flipped and we went the other way and couldn't get out of 6th or 7th for the rest of the day. So in our sport, if you lose track position, and that's what usually happens towards the end of these races, you have different strategies coming along. You can be up there in clean air and develop, really tune your car for that environment. And then if you lose track position, you've got a totally different race car. And then we don't only see it here, we see it at all the tracks. So I think there's a lot more in that than anything. Yes, this track is very temperature sensitive, but I think track position plays a big key in the success of your race here.
Any other questions for Jimmie? Okay, Jimmie, thank you for your time, and thanks again for all the good work you do with your foundation.